the middle of it. Oklahoma State's Director of Athletics, Chad Weiberg, joins us on 365 Sports with Paul Craig, and I'm David Smoak. Thank you very much, Mr. Weiberg, for being a part of the show. Are there days that go by where something hasn't changed somewhat in college athletics, in your opinion?
Well, it doesn't seem like it lately, that's for sure. I haven't been in this as long as some ADs have, but I've asked some of the longer-serving ones after some of our meetings, hey, what did you guys used to talk about in these meetings?
It couldn't have been as tense and as fun. Oklahoma State, when Oklahoma and Texas left, was maybe in a more unique position than anyone else because you were going to lose your biggest rival. Now, in football, everybody's got a couple, and Oklahoma obviously going with Texas, who is their other one. But as you looked forward as to, when the league was going to get built and how was this, how much did that change on your perspective of things of you're really maybe, especially on a couple days a year, going to get hit harder than most?
Well, yes, I think that obviously when people bring Bedlam up, primarily like you're talking football, and that obviously is a big game every year for us on our schedule as it is for them, and so yeah, that has its challenges, uniquely since that football scheduling gets done so far in advance, but. I suspect that we will continue to play in some form or fashion in most of the other sports. And so Bedlam in some form or fashion, I suspect will continue. We just recently found out last week about the timeline of the departure. So we haven't, had the time to start diving into what that looks like. But I anticipate it will be there some. But as for football, yes, we'll lose Bedlam, but we're gaining some other, I think, exciting matchups coming into the conference. I mean, it's a very, very competitive league. We've seen that over the last three conference championship games. 5 of the 6 teams that have competed in the conference championship game are teams that are still going to be here in the conference moving forward. And so I think it just shows a level of balanced competitiveness. Obviously, TCU going to the championship game this year. Cincinnati the year before was in the college football playoff. They'll be coming in. We over the last, I think since 2010, rank in the top 10 in the country in the number of wins. So there's a lot of competitiveness in this league, and I think it's going to make it very exciting. So I suspect that new rivalries will form.
How would you best describe your feeling and Oklahoma State's feeling in getting that Oklahoma and Texas deal finalized and just the way you guys have received that, knowing that it's a bit of a weight lifted for all involved to know what the future looks like?
Well, that's right. As soon as the announcement came out back in the summer of 21, we knew that this was the way it was going to end, right? So then it's just a matter of how does it end, what's the timeline look like, and so there was just that uncertainty, and we'd been working under that uncertainty since then. So what the announcement last week provides is just that certainty. Now we know and can begin to plan accordingly. And so that is a good thing, I think, for everyone involved.
You took over in July of 2021, which is when all hell broke loose with the story involving Texas, Oklahoma. Was that after you took over or right before you took over?
Yeah, as I recall, no, it was about 21 days into it. So, I'd gotten at least a couple weeks under my belt before it broke. So, at the time we were dealing with name, image, and likeness. As you know, that started on July 1st of that summer. And, we thought that was the big deal at the time. And so 21 days later, there was something added to that for sure.
We asked, Jamie Pollard was with us yesterday from Iowa State. We've had all the ADs, it seemed like, from the conference. We do appreciate you now being a part of our show as well. We were coming on yesterday with him, and we mentioned the Texas OU and whatever else, and the game was on the Longhorn Network, and we were going to ask him about the exit. He goes, they can't leave soon enough. Does that answer your question? Is that kind of the same feeling throughout the room of those still left?
Well, I think it's probably the same feeling with everyone involved, right, including them.
Yes,
like
yes.
I said before, you know how it's going to end, and so at some point it's just time to move on, get there, right? And so I give a lot of credit to Commissioner Yormark on being able to get all the parties together, and that's a very complicated deal, right? You've got 2 schools and 2 television networks and 2 conferences, so there's just a lot of players at the table, and so for everyone to come together and get it done as best as can be done for everyone to move forward, I think that was a good thing. And so, yeah, it's time to move on, and for us and for them.
The speed at which you got the TV deal done and being able to jump in line as the days move on, how much of a relief does that even more make it with all these other rights issues coming up and the Pac-12 still, trying to find their deal? At the time, did you think it would happen that fast? And as that's kind of aged very well, how do you feel about it moving forward?
Yeah, again, I give Commissioner Yormark, I think, a lot of credit for sort of understanding, how this could play out. He had, had the vision for, the importance of trying to get to the table with our partners as soon as we could, and he was able to accomplish that. So, and yeah, as time goes, right, and we didn't even know all of this at the time, but it's looking like that was even, more and more a better decision as we go forward. And it is, there's just a lot of uncertainty, going on right now in college athletics. So I think that any time that you can go ahead and get decisions made and move forward, that puts you in the best possible position.
Is that more of a strength because now your TV deal moving forward, the extension that was done, and then the exit agreement that was done, and you've made that very clear that it's good for everyone to move forward. But is that good to have those off the table, check your boxes, whatever, even if the possibility some money was left on the table?
Yeah, I think that's that was part of the calculation, right, that everyone had to go through is, is what is the give and take there, right? What is it worth? And I think we arrived at the right place. Could you always hope for more? Absolutely, right? And I'm sure they were hoping for less, right? That's just how it works. But no, I think that there's a lot of value on getting to a place that we can move forward again, and a lot of it is because of the uncertainty that's out there. So now what we've got is at least certainty with that. And as I think what Commissioner Yormark wants to do is put the Big 12 in a position that as opportunity presents itself, whatever that may look like, that we're in the best position we can be in to take advantage of it. I feel like we've played defense in this conference for a long time. It feels good to be on offense.
Yeah, that's a great point. You're right. For quite some time. Your uncle was the Big 12 commissioner for a little bit. How much did you actually pick his brain or learn from watching what he was doing?
Oh, a lot, I think. He probably has no idea how much I watched and tried to pick up from him. And yeah, I would talk to him. I asked for his advice a lot, and I think he was always helpful in providing, just all the different perspectives. That I think is the main thing he gave me was just perspective that I did not have. So I was very fortunate to have somebody like that as a mentor and someone I trusted and could go to.
So
we still do.
So we've hit on, a couple of the questions that have now been answered, but you've mentioned that there's still – it's college athletics. Everything's constantly changing. We know the NIL piece still remains very much a fuzzy mystery on how that's going to play out ultimately. So for Chad Weiberg and Oklahoma State athletics specifically, a couple of, don't have to worry about the Big 12 TV deal and things like that. But what do you consider for the Cowboys in particular, Cowboys athletics, kind of the maybe the biggest things on the radar for you guys right now moving forward, the biggest, marks on the to-do list, so to speak?
Right. I think that, there's just a lot of opportunity now. And so what we're focused on is trying to do what we can do to, seize that opportunity. And clearly, it is all driven towards how do we continue to be successful in the new Big 12 conference and compete for conference championships and national championships. And, that's what we've always done. That's always been our goal. And we do have 52 national championships, and we have a lot of teams that are ranked in the top 10 in the country and are striving for that even as we speak. And so, I look at my job and our job is what do we need to do to continue to put them in the best position possible to compete. And there's a lot of changes going on. Things are evolving, so we've got to change and evolve with it and take advantage of what we can take advantage of. But at the end of the day, we feel like we've got a good culture. We feel like we've got what's made us successful here. So, one of the challenges is taking all of these new things and working with the evolution, but making it fit in what it is that we do well. And if we can figure that out, I think that we'll continue to be where we traditionally have been, and that's competing for championships.
What have you felt from your perspective about, the future of just even the Oklahoma State Cowboys and their athletic department in the face of this new Big 12, from outsiders saying, because it really is now, it is so wide open for everything that there has to be just optimism abounding in every sport about how, it's completely new.
Yeah, it is. And it's going to be completely, I think, really competitive across the board. So, we've had a lot of success in our programs, but we cannot take anything for granted. We're going to come up against teams that are, doing the same things. It's hard to win, right? Because you're going up every contest against a school and a team that's doing the exact same things that you are, which is trying to win. So anytime that you can come out of those scenarios and those contests with more than your fair share of wins, it's a really, it's an accomplishment because, like I said, all 11 other schools are trying to do the exact same things that we're doing. But I think it's great for the league. I think it's going to drive value for the conference that, people are going to tune in to the Big 12 and on any given weekend, you don't know what's going to happen. And so I think that's going to be great for the Big 12 moving forward.
Jed Weiberg, Oklahoma State Director of Athletics with us, 365 Sports. Coaches all have different personalities. Mike Gundy, very visible in Stillwater for Oklahoma State and throughout the country. But I want to tell you something. I have watched from his early years Mike Boynton and what he's done with the men's basketball program and how he handled the disappointing result from the NCAA. Can you tell us something about him and how much you obviously know him? I love his style, and I love his he doesn't seem to pull many punches, but he does it in a classy way.
Yeah, look, that's exactly right. From the, before he ever coached a basketball game here, we were dealing with that FBI and NCAA investigation. And so, he's been dealing with that, the entire time he's been a head coach here. And I think he has handled that with as much class as anybody could and dealt with it well. We've had some good years in there, and that's with kind of one hand tied behind our backs in a lot of ways. I think last year when we had no postseason opportunity to play for, I believe memory serves, we would have gone into the conference tournament as the 5 seed. Mm-hmm. So I think that is remarkable that he was able to keep his team motivated and focused and doing what they needed to do day in and day out to compete when there was really nothing at the end of the end of the season to play for. So I think that just tells you kind of everything that you need to know about Coach Boynton and who he is and what his character is made up of. And so I keep saying that I think he is building up hopefully a lot of good good karma, if you will, because it certainly has been stacked against him so far.
I just love the guy from what I've seen when he's been at Waco, post press conference, whatever, or during a game as well. What would you be like right now if you were an athletic director of a conference, of a team at a conference that did not have their future intact? Would it be tough to kind of sleep at night?
Well, I think most of us and, my counterparts in this conference, right, we've been through a similar uncertainty to that. So unfortunately, I know exactly what that feels like. And yeah, it does create a lot of anxiety for sure. But I think the main thing that you can do, what we did anyway, is, there's just certain things that are out of your control, right? And, our coaches say the same thing to our student athletes, regardless of what team, what sport it is you can't worry about the things that are outside of your control. All you can do is focus in on what is in your control, control the things that you can control. And so that's what we've tried to do ever since, July of last year is, we can't worry about those things. We've got to control what we can control, find the opportunity that's out there. And if we do that well, we'll be just fine.
What is your why in what you do and as an athletic director, if you don't mind me asking?
It's the people. And I think first and foremost is the student athletes. I tell our fans, our donors a lot, but they get to see them do incredible things on the field and on the court and in the competitions. But I wish they could see what I get to see and what we get to see here inside the athletic department of what they're doing on a daily basis and in the classroom and how hard they work in practice and what they do in the community and all of those things, because they're just incredible young people, so much talent and great leadership, and so it makes you feel really good about the future leaders of this country. And then I also enjoy dealing with our fans, our donors, our alumni. We've got great people that help us do what we do. Right, we couldn't do any of what we do without their loyal support, and so I just look at it as an honor and a pleasure to get to work with both of those groups of people.
How do you keep from making sure, with all the attention, and that last question I have, thank you very much for your time, Chad Weiberg, Oklahoma State, from all the attention that's with football and men's basketball because of the revenue they produce, but that other sports still feel like they're in it and involved in it and a major part of it? Is that difficult to juggle, not on your end, but sometimes with all the noise out there in college athletics?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's just a lot of external focus on those men's basketball and football. The media, that certainly is the majority of the narrative, and I think everyone understands that. But when you're here on a campus and you're dealing with those every day, I mean, all you have to do is be around those student athletes, those coaches. Go to those contests, those games. We play Iowa State. The Cowgirl basketball team plays Iowa State here tonight. The minute, we walk into the arena for that game, it's as big as anything, that's going on. And I think that's what's awesome about college athletics.
Thank you very much, Chad. Thanks for your time, Mr. Weiberg, Oklahoma State's Director of Athletics. Good luck moving forward with you and the others who are a part of the Big 12 that remained, and also the incoming four have done. Yes, Brett Yormark, Bob Bowlesby right before that. It's been pretty amazing what's transpired in the last couple of years, and here we are with the Big 12 in a really nice spot. Thanks for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Chad Weiberg, Oklahoma State Director of Athletics. There was an article in the